Artie, put that on my tab.
Of course.
Artie Bucco was the biggest loser on The Sopranos, and not because he wasn't in the mob. The man who had a 5-star restaurant, a devoted wife, a relatively stable life outside the mob's blood-streaked orbit, and somehow still managed to be one of the most pitiably delusional characters in The Sopranos.
Who's got a Virginia ham under her arm, and she goes around crying because she's got no...
He is the walking embodiment of man with a Virginia ham under one arm, crying he's got no bread.
Your ear, I never noticed before.
Artie's infatuation with Adriana in Another Toothpick isn't merely cringeworthy, it's excruciating. Her discomfort is palpable, trying to preserve politeness while clearly repulsed by this platonic uncle figure's unwanted flirtations.
Don't ever fucking say that again to anybody, ever.
Even Tony, who hardly qualifies as a feminist icon, steps in like a substitute guidance counselor. A gentle kiss to the forehead, a firm "don't be an idiot," and the unspoken sentiment that Artie is humiliating himself. And that's Artie in a nutshell. Perpetually, almost pathologically, humiliating himself. This isn't a case of simple, unrequited longing. It's a man addicted to romanticizing what he isn't, what he can't be, and what he absolutely shouldn't try to be.
Artie, that kind of buzz we should avoid in droves.
He has a wife who's smarter, sharper, and more self-possessed than most of the other women on the show. One who wants nothing to do with Tony's world. She is his moral lighthouse, and he responds by pining over Adriana like a flustered waiter with a midlife crisis and a corkscrew earring. Yet somehow, Artie continues to believe he's the one who missed out. This inferiority complex is the defining feature of Bucco's character, successful on paper, spiritually bankrupt in practice. He's not a loser by conventional standards. He runs a fine restaurant, has a loyal clientele, and isn't being hounded by the FBI or stalked by enemies. But he thinks he's a loser, and that belief drives him to absurd self-sabotage. Instead of embracing his relative safety and success, he stares longingly at the mob's velvet-roped VIP section and wonders why he's not holding court with Gumars and extorting garbage companies. Tony, to his credit, or perhaps his dysfunction, loves Artie. Not in the way healthy people love, of course, but in that special Tony Soprano way, conditional, manipulative, occasionally affectionate, but always self-serving. Artie is Tony's connection to the world before blood money and federal wiretaps, the last untainted relic of his past.
Vesuvio is where pussy feels safe. He's been eating here all his life.
Hey.
He may burn Artie's restaurant to the ground, but hey, he does it to protect him from mob fallout. That's love, right? Tony spares Artie in a way he wouldn't spare Hesh, or Paulie, or even his own nephew. When Artie once pulled a gun on him in a fit of pathetic bravado, Tony responded not with rage, but with something bordering on pity.
The guy's not returning your phone calls.
I know.
You gotta get your arms around this thing.
Imagine pointing a gun at the boss of North Jersey's most powerful crime family and getting a pep talk. That's not respect, it's charity. But let's not romanticize this one-sided friendship. Tony uses Artie when it's convenient and ignores him when it isn't.
Artie, put that on my tab.
Of course.
He stuffs his face at Vesuvio on credit, foists Furio on him under the pretense of employment, and lets his underlings, Benny in particular, run scams out of Artie's restaurant. Scams that threaten to destroy the very thing Artie prides himself on.
Okay.
Layer of skin came off his hand like a glove.
A real friend doesn't let Benny deglove you in your own dining room and then comp the tiramisu. What makes Artie so maddening is his stubborn refusal to acknowledge the quiet luck of his life. He's not scrounging like Paulie, whose lavish affectations mask a lonely, joyless existence in a crummy apartment. He's not chronically paranoid like Tony, pacing through his McMansion while waiting for the feds or his enemies to knock down the door. Artie has what Tony can never have: peace, a clear conscience, and a partner who isn't in it for the money. And yet he looks longingly across the criminal divide like a child pressing his face to the glass of a toy store he doesn't belong in.
My earring!
You ripped my fucking ear!
That ear piercing? The earring he flaunts for Adriana's benefit? It's not just cringe. It's a monument to Artie's midlife collapse, a symbol of his desperate, embarrassing attempt to be someone, anyone, other than himself. The moment he touches her hand in the club is less a flirtation and more an act of social suicide. Artie Bucco is not a bad man. He's not even a tragic man, not in the classical sense. He's simply a man too blinded by envy to see that he's already won the game. Instead of savoring his sauce, he's out here crying over the bread. He's a master chef with the soul of a second-string mob groupie. The real irony, he had everything Tony wanted. A clean life, a loyal partner, a family he hadn't broken, and still decided it wasn't enough. Perhaps the saddest part of all is that if he'd only learned to be happy in his own skin, he could have had an empire of his own. Instead, he settled for being the punchline. A warm and convivial host, yes, but always the court jester in someone else's kingdom. If you felt the pain behind the pasta, give this a like. I'm Matthew, and this is Sopranos Breakdown, where even the sauce has subtext.